Debbie Knopf,
Here.
Cindy Garrity, Glenn Carlson,
Here.
Larry Derrigan, Esme Martinson,
Here.
Magdalene Dale.
Here.
Quorum present. And if we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Linda, can you confirm our meeting posting for this evening?
I can confirm that tonight's meeting was posted in all designated locations.
Thank you so much. We need an approval of our agenda board.
So moved.
A second.
We have a motion by Debbie and a second by Esme. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 1.6, public comments. We have one shared document within the board docs from our BEA president, Eric Iverson.
Hi, thank you. I appreciate you letting me the opportunity to submit that and to read it, which I will do right now. If I can find it. Here we go. We, the Bayfield Education Association, are writing this letter to the school district of Bayfield administration regarding the recent decision to reinstate in-person special education services. We have reached out and asked for clarification from the Wisconsin Education Association Council, or WEAC, and the Wisconsin DPI. We are doing our best to understand the legalities of the situation as well as the rights of the individuals involved. Following is our current understanding of the situation. Special education services are governed federally by FAPE. If the state or county or some other authority closes schools due to the pandemic or anything else, then special education services can be provided remotely, just like instruction to other students. If a district chooses to close a school but was not ordered by the state or county, the situation is different in that the special education team would have to modify IEPs to change the placement of the provided services. It is our understanding that changing the placement to virtual is within the limits of the law. It is our understanding that our special education team followed the procedure to change the placement of our special education students to virtual within the limits of the law. We recognize that several members of the special education team agreed to provide in-person services earlier in the year, although it was not mandated. Since that time, COVID situation in the area has changed drastically. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services has just recently created a new risk category, critically high, and Bayfield County is included in that list of critically high risk counties. Only 7 counties in the state are currently not listed in that category. Besides being categorized as critically high, Bayfield County is also listed as having a growing trajectory. Accordingly to the most recent number, Wisconsin is now seeing more average cases per day than New York City did at the peak of the surge last spring. Under these current circumstances, the BEA does not feel comfortable with the district mandating in-person services. The school district of Bayfield has a strong history of collaboration between the community, administration, teaching staff, and support staff. We hope that collaborative effort is practiced during this critical time. Although it might be well within the district's legal rights to require special education staff to report to the school building, we question the wisdom of that possibility. We believe our well-trained professional special education staff is capable of providing virtual services to students as legally allowed. We, the BEA, therefore cannot in good conscience support a return to in-person special education services at this time when other staff are not asked to return. And then we hope that you are willing to discuss the situation before November 18th, the scheduled date to reconvene in-person instruction. Sincerely, me. So, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We will follow up with the administration regarding your letter from the BEA, Eric.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Are there any other public comments this evening? If not, we will move on to the meeting minutes of August 17th and October 26th, 2020.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Debbie and a second by Glenn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Do I see Larry or Cindy on the line yet? Sorry, guys, there's a lot of people, so. Maybe
No,
we-
they're not here.
Okay. You just let us know if you do see them come in and I missed them. Are there any future agenda items? Board? 2.2 on our agenda, our finance committee.
So we discussed vouchers, driver's ed, behind the wheel, the audit, and staff appreciation, and each one of those things is separately on the agenda for later. I would like to add that the compensation work group, which was authorized at the last monthly meeting, tomorrow will have its third meeting to discuss compensation, and I think it's been very productive so far.
Thanks, Glenn. Policy committee? Did
Ah.
you guys meet?
We met. I'm not as good as doing the recap as Cindy, and she was there. Linda might have to help me out, but we only discussed, I believe, oh God, a couple items. Linda, can you help me out on this one? She on?
I can hear her talking on the phone.
Oh, okay.
So I was there too, Esme. Is it okay if I just?
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure. Maybe together you and I could both piece it back together. So we did go over a couple pieces, but what I did share is that this week, Linda and I will be meeting with our Neola person to take a look at policies in question, and Esme and Cindy felt that that was a good direction, and that any other questions would come up once we discussed the few policies that we did go over on Thursday. So
I think we agreed that the handbook looked okay. The handbook looked good, and that any of the adjustments we talked about earlier in the year, you guys would then be going over, like you said, this week. Does that sound right?
yeah, and if anything came up, if there were any discrepancies at all, if there was something listed that maybe wasn't budgeted for, if there was anything in the handbook that would throw up a flag, that the goal is on that Wednesday meeting that we would catch those things and then bring them forward to policy and then the board.
It was a pretty short meeting, guys. It was like 10.
Okay, moving on to administrative reports, 3.1 through 3.7. Are there any questions from the board for administration?
I don't have any questions, but I wrote a couple of comments down on Beth's report. I just want to say I'm so glad to see the PR committee. I've been involved in similar efforts throughout the years with different administrations, and I know this is so often difficult because of the amount of time it takes, but it's so critically important in building our connection with community. It's always been high on my list through my many years of being involved. So thank you for moving that forward. The elementary principal report, I was so pleased to see the attendance, 93% for our elementary kids, 97% over on the island. I think that's awesome. And I just want to say that I overheard a parent talking to the school, with Jeff Gordon actually, who had been helping with getting her kids caught up with some missing schoolwork. And some of it was just because it wasn't in the right place or something in the computer system. And there'd been several calls that had gone back and forth over a couple of days. And this mom just couldn't say enough positives about how this staff and Jeff, you know, had been supporting her and her students. And she felt really positive about those connections. And I wanted to share that with the whole board, that what I heard was just nothing but praise for from this mom. So, and I guess the last thing I'll say is hooray for buildings and grounds and getting fire alarms and elevators back. That was the best news of all. So that was all my comments.
I just had a question. I thought we hired a nursing assistant. Are we reposting that? I'm just a little confused.
I can speak to that. We are. We had gone through the interview process and had made an offer to an individual. And after 5 different attempts to get confirmation from that individual, we never heard back. And so we had to have a discussion and decided to repost the position.
Got it. Thanks for clarifying.
Any other questions or comments on the reports?
I'll make a motion to approve reports 3.1 through 3.7 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Debbie and a second by Esme to accept the reports as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries. On to vouchers, October bills.
I move that we pay the vouchers in the amount of $1,095,167.98.
Second.
And I'd just point out that about half of that is like 4 or 5 months worth of health insurance premiums.
We have a motion by Glenn and a second by Debbie. Could we have a roll call, please, Linda?
Sorry about that. Nicole Boyd,
Yes.
Debbie Knopf,
Yes.
Glenn Carlson,
Yes.
Esme Martinson,
Yes.
Magdalene Dale.
Yes. Motion carries, board. 5.1 school 2020-2021 reentry plan update.
All right. So I have had Nick Sawyer creating daily COVID information, including local positive cases, any graphs, any numbers that are relevant to our district area. And I have included school board members to receive those as well. So he's compiling that information. The short of it is I'm requesting that we continue in virtual through January 15th, which per our health partners, Red Cliff Community Health and Bayfield County Health, feel that that is the soonest time that we could safely revisit, because it puts us 2 weeks after New Year's Eve. It's not, the end of our second quarter. We're about a week ahead with that January 15th date. But given all that's happening, I'm guessing, we're all reading it in the news and hearing it, seeing it maybe even close to home with family members or neighbors, et cetera, in quarantine or getting COVID. Things are really popping. And so after careful consideration and really hearing that information again and again over the course of these several weeks, that is the administration's recommendation to you, the board, that we continue level 1. Of course, the LaPointe School is operating on a slightly different situation, given where they are and number of students, et cetera. And also our in-service special education work that is one-on-one and a very small number of students. And that's something that I'll be reporting, to you outside of this meeting as well. So for our mainland school and schools, my recommendation is that Friday, January 15th date. I do have, I know that Nick is on the call too. If you are interested in any other updates or information, I know that he's ready to supply that information for you.
I really feel that's the best choice that we can make, given, the extra exposure that's a potential with people getting together with family, if people choose to do that during the Thanksgiving break or Christmas break. I know a lot of people are cutting that out and not, but we can't take the risk. So I think that's the best. I really stand behind that decision, Beth, as well.
And I know too that Washburn Elementary, Middle School, and High School is now closed. And I believe Washburn is staying closed until mid-January as well, for the same reason. It's a couple weeks after the holiday season. And I know that I personally feel like this is just another blow, but especially for parents who have been since day one desperate to get their kids back in school. But I guess what I would say is that if you're concerned about getting back to school, if you're a teacher or a parent or anyone in the community, stay home. Just stay home so we can get back to school. I've been home for weeks. I'm not happy about it, but that's where we're at.
Nick, did you want to add anything? Sorry, Nicole.
Well, I'll just speak for Holly because she sent a nice email out. Her recommendation is if we don't need to reopen, don't. All of the schools in the region are seeing outbreaks with staff and students. Schools across the nation are closing till after the Thanksgiving break, which ties into the Christmas break. So they're just staying closed till mid-January to see what happens. It takes about 2 weeks to realize with testing and whatnot what the impact of an event is. And the anticipation nationwide and from all the powers that be is that Thanksgiving will generate many spikes. Hopefully not in our region, but that is the expectation, and that's what we're planning for.
Thanks.
Hey, this is Larry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Larry.
I'm on my cell phone.
We hear you.
Okay, well, I'm in the meeting now.
Thanks, Larry. Did you catch that last item that was presented and shared by Beth?
No, I didn't, but you can go ahead and fill me in just a little bit if you could.
Beth and Nick both just presented a little update on the pandemic situation and are moving forward with a recommendation to the board that we remain 100% virtual minus the island and some special ed services through January 15th, 2021.
Yeah, I read something about that. Yeah, I guess we don't have a whole lot of choice in that.
I have a question. Will the HVAC system be back up and fully functional by then?
I know that Joel is, there he is. Thank you, Joel.
You're welcome, and thanks to Debbie for the kudos for getting the fire alarm system up. To answer your question, Glenn, yes, I firmly believe that everything will be done. Johnson Controls has been in the building last week and again today, and will proceed throughout the week. I figure the programming and installation of the controllers is going to probably wrap up in 2.5 to 3 weeks. So by the end of probably the week of the 9th of December or 7th of December, we should have everything just about wrapped up. I'm slowing them down a bit with anticipation of Beth's recommendation because there's a few things that I'm seeing that weren't working that I want to make sure we get complete and everything is working before they move forward to the next phase. Atmos system, I'll give you an update as long as I'm speaking to that. They finished just about all their install on Saturday. Only thing that they have left to install is some control devices in the main building and the 3 Atmos units on the island, and they should return this week to complete that as well. So yeah, everything should be operational by mid-December.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Bill.
this is Larry. I'd just like to know what percentage of that unit where are we at with it? 10%, 20%, 50%?
In regards to what, Larry, the Atmos or the controls?
The whole unit, everything.
As I just stated, the Atmos install is complete. We still haven't powered the units up because we're still waiting for some of the control work to get done. And the control work, I want to say we're probably at 15%. We're
Okay.
just getting started on programming some stuff today.
Sounds good.
Does anybody have any questions? All right,
Board,
thank
are
you.
prepared to make a decision this evening? Do you need more information, more time? Is there any other questions?
I guess I have a question. So the letter that was presented to us by the BEA about the special ed services, when we discuss or when we make a decision about keeping the school closed until a certain date, I think we need to talk about, and maybe now or maybe later, whether that covers special ed services, because those kids do have an IEP, and if it's just if it's leaving those services out. I think we have to look at it like 2 separate services, I guess. So I'm just wondering if we make that decision tonight, will it cover both or just regular ed?
my understanding would be that we would make a decision. The school district and the administration would make a decision. They've informed us through email, or myself, I've been involved with the administration in a little bit from what the health partners are sharing about the special ed services. So the administration isn't just making decisions. They are working with the health partners before taking any considerations for special ed, as they did when they closed special ed. So I don't think that we're voting for special ed would be my frank answer to your question. Just the entire school as a whole.
For general education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted someone to clarify a little bit for anyone listening, since we did get that letter tonight.
Do we want a motion?
If the board wants to take action, then yeah, we'll need.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we follow the recommendation of the administration and stay virtual. I'm sorry, what? Stay virtual until January 15th, and when the situation will be reevaluated.
And Cindy just joined us.
Hello, everybody. I apologize. I'm forgetting everything lately.
See that birthday.
Yeah.
Second motion. We have a motion on the floor, Cindy, with a recommendation from administration to remain at phase 1 through January 15th
For the
Okay.
mainland school, for the Bayfield school.
for the
For
main.
the Bayfield School.
Is
Okay.
there any more discussion, board? If not, we have a motion by Debbie and a second by myself. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion's carrying. Thank you, administration.
Thank you, board.
We will move on to 6.1, consider cost of driver's ed behind the wheel.
We talked about this during the finance committee meeting, and this isn't exactly the way that we had planned on doing driver's ed, but given circumstances, this is what the proposed solution is. And the committee discussed it and is recommending that we move forward with this, provided that it can be done in a way that is COVID aware, and that the proper release forms are signed by parents, etc. So I'll make a motion that we authorize the payment of up to $6,300 at the rate of $300 per student for behind the wheel driving with Steve Barnes.
I'll second that.
Oh, go ahead, Larry. We have a motion by Glenn, second by Larry. Could we have a roll call, please, Linda?
In discussion a minute. Now,
Yeah.
is that where the students would pay the $300 behind the wheel?
No, the district will pay that.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make that clear.
Linda?
Sorry about that. Cindy Garrity,
Yes.
Esme Martinson,
Yes.
Glenn Carlson,
Yes.
Larry Derrigan, Larry Derrigan,
I did.
there you go. Nicole Boyd,
Yes.
Debbie Knopf,
Yes.
Magdalene Dale.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Next, we have consider 1920 audit report.
This was also discussed at the finance meeting, and it's an unqualified report. The auditors were very complimentary towards Randy and her staff for what they have done and put together for them, and just how they've operated and their cooperation. The finances of the district continue to be strong. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer the ones that I can, but Randy can answer all of them. So I'll make a motion that we approve the 2019-2020 audit report as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Glenn and a second by Debbie to accept the audit report as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Moving on to considering policy 9101, Indian policies and procedures and Native American parent involvement.
Are there a lot of changes to this, or is it pretty similar to what we've had? Or is it different because of Neola?
I'm taking, from my understanding, it's all pretty much similar. There was just a little thing that was changed. But yeah, I'm good with moving forward with it.
Great. Thanks, Cindy.
Is that a motion?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion to move forward with it. Told you, I'm not here.
We have a motion by Cindy. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Esme. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you. Consider 2020-2021 staff handbook. First reading, waive the second. I see a lot of red.
I wondered about some of the biggest updating was under health examinations, and I'm wondering if that because of a change in the law or Neola or other circumstances that impacted that big of a change.
Yeah, that was the extent of the Neola policy. And really all our policy was that the district would pay for any required physical exams. So I just inserted the entire policy for that.
Okay. Okay. Well, it looks pretty comprehensive.
I had a couple of questions. One was in the appendix for the classified staff, the non-teaching staff. There are 4 columns of pay rates there, and I couldn't find any definition for what those columns represent. It just says they're just 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the appendix, and I don't have it on my screen right now, but it does say something about, lane 4, column 4 being something about 50 cents an hour more, but it didn't, whereas on the teachers one, I mean, it really well-defined. It's like provisional column, lifetime column, master's column, that was defined, but I couldn't find anything that actually said what got you into column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4.
Those are actually years of service. So year 1, year 2, year 3, and then after year 3 at year 10, then you get the $50 cents an hour raise.
At year 10, okay.
Yeah, and that's why there's information about column 10 or column 4, sorry.
Sure.
Oh.
Okay. So those are just years.
Yes, they're all
okay.
year.
Okay. Got it. Thanks. The other question I had was there was a big piece in yellow that suggested to me it was new, saying about health coverage for employees, not full-time employees, but employees who are either at 0.75 FTE or 30 hours a week. Is that new, Randy, or why was that highlighted?
Can you tell me a page? I guess I didn't know there was any yellow in there.
Is it
Yeah.
page 21? Page 21 under health insurance and COBRA?
21, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, let me take a look at it.
Okay, thanks.
I'm not sure why that's highlighted because that was in there last year as well. Linda, do you know why that's highlighted?
Probably for me to just confirm with you. A reminder to myself. Yeah.
Okay, yep, that was the same as last year.
Okay. Sorry, I missed that.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had.
Beth, I have a question about the extra duty pay, because I see the addition that teaching staff will now be paid extra duty pay if they're asked to cover another class, but it says if approved. Is there some type of matrix that helps as an administrator determine who will and will not be approved? Or, I mean, there's lots of different scenarios I can picture, you know, if I'm a teacher and Beth is or Debbie's a teacher and I have one kid for the day and she has 3 and she has to leave and I have to take 4 kids, which could be our reality in the future. How do we determine that as extra duties? Or
That's a good question. I'm new to this side of it, so I mean, I know as a teacher, you know, taking on that extra, who determines it and who okays it, it has been, you know, principals okaying that. So I don't, I have to defer. I have to say I can certainly look into that and get information on if that needs to change, if a matrix needs to be created to really understand how that compensation happens or when it doesn't. So if okay, I will ask, you know, a couple of Randy and Shelley and a few people and then report back to you. I don't have an answer for you tonight.
because that's new, right?
Mhm.
That's an addition that's new.
I don't think extra pay is new for.
No, hey, for teachers covering.
Oh, for
Well, there's one, you
covering
know,
for-
yeah, like if we have to substitute, if we are not if we're not teaching and we have a prep and there's a coverage needed for another teacher or another duty, I know in the past I've been tapped to say, hey, this is your prep right now. Can you go and sub for somebody? At that point, I would be able to put in for that prep period for compensation.
And my
So-
recollection is we did have quite a discussion about this
Can I
in the
just add
last
on to that a little bit?
couple of years, and I don't recall the outcome of it. So maybe I think
Shelley was trying to chime in.
Yeah, so maybe Shelley knows what our decision was.
I think why that was added, last year we had teachers covering during times that wasn't their prep time. Traditionally, I find a teacher who's got a prep time, hey, can you cover for this period? And they put in the timesheet and get paid for it. Then it kind of evolved where we didn't have enough subs and we were having a teacher cover for the smaller numbered classrooms. So for example, if the Native American Studies teacher had a small class with 4 or 5 kiddos, and then she pulled the family consumer class over that had 8 kids, just to monitor them and continue their lesson for that day, like dual teaching. Prior to that little amendment that was put in there, they couldn't submit that blue sheet if they were already teaching that hour. So this allows them to cover 2 classes. And that was due to the sub shortage at the time. And I think we're going to play it out to see if it worked. And I think with these low numbers, we may need to resort back to that, especially with the lack of substitutes right now.
Thanks, Shelley.
One more thing I want to point out too is some of the coaching positions, I did not budget for them, and I'm not sure why they were added to the employee handbook, because that doesn't really give you enough information about why we would add a whole sport. Like lacrosse is added, and also the can ski. I don't believe that was on last year, and I did not do a budget for those positions, let alone a whole sport.
Okay.
So it sounds like we, from our side, have some discussions that need to happen to understand and clarify those 2 pieces, the addition of Kansky and lacrosse, and just get those of us who are new up to speed, as well as the compensation for staff and how to proceed, especially given the sub shortage that we're experiencing.
Yeah, and then to find out for sure if those are even okayed by the board to be added into the sports.
Right.
Point taken. Thank you for speaking up on those.
Are we deleting those off the document?
They're not approved sports by the board currently, is what we're hearing.
Okay, thanks.
How did those get into the student handbook without it going through the board? How did those, I'm just kind of wondering process-wise how that happened.
I believe that happened in July, is what I was told those were added.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
I think we just need to check back and make sure that they were added in.
Well, it should be in the minutes somewhere, right?
Yep.
I'll check that.
Hey, Nicole and board, this is Jeff. I just want to have a point of clarification with the lacrosse program and the others that are highlighted on the document. Typically, this document comes forward to the board in June and July. The first reading is typically in June or July, and the second reading is in August. And any new positions or deletions would be brought forward to the policy and finance committee at that moment in time. And then if there's a discussion of yay or nay, if it's yay, we would proceed forward with, job description, those types of things. But now we're in November, so it's kind of late in the game. But typically the process for those activities that you see in the document, those are usually highlighted in July. We go through them, administration will delete what we don't feel is appropriate anymore, and we'll add on what we believe would be a new program. And then we bring that forward to the board.
Thanks, Jeff.
You bet.
Yeah, I don't remember those being in our policy meeting when we had the big meeting about the change in, the Neola rep came and we discussed a bunch of changes in policy, but I don't think that was one of them.
Yeah, just for clarification again, Esme, the document for employee handbook, we would have went through that with you at the policy level to let you know what was added, what was taken away, and then to have that discussion. I don't know if that probably didn't take place yet.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Is there a reason that we need Randy or Beth or Linda to adopt this tonight? It sounds like maybe there might be some things in there that should be looked at again.
No, I think we can hold off a little longer.
Oh,
We can definitely wait until December.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a good idea. So I'll make a motion that we consider this the first reading. And that we have a second reading and approval next month.
Second.
We have a motion by Glenn and a second by Debbie to approve a first reading and bring back for second reading. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Did we lose you, Larry? I don't see Alice's cell
There.
or iPhone.
I said aye.
Oh, there
There
he is.
you are.
I was here all the
Back
time.
up. All right, motion carries. The administration will bring back for a second reading. Next, we have an item in executive session, adjourning to executive session in accordance with Wisconsin Statute 19.85. We have staff appreciation.
Motion
I'll be there if I make it.
And then we're coming back for the 7 o'clock impact aid hearing, right?
Well,
Yeah.
we have to come back to
open session.
open.
Right,
open
right.
Also,
session.
can I get an invite to executive session?
We,
I don't know. Linda sent them out today. Linda,
Vice-
can you send one to Randy?
Yes, I can in just a second. Did someone make a motion to go into executive session?
we have a motion on the floor by Cindy,
Yes.
I'll second it.
seconded by Glenn. Could we have a roll call, please, Linda?
I think so.
Nicole Boyd,
Yes.
Debbie Knopf,
Yes.
Cindy Garrity,
Yes.
Glenn Carlson,
Yes.
Larry Garrigan,
Yes.
Esme Martinson,
Yes.
Magdalene Dale.
Yes.
I'll try to make it there, but I don't count on it.
We'll meet you in executive, and then we will return to this session to announce any action.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now what? How the hell did I get out of this one?
I know. That's what I'm wondering. The same thing, Larry. I think I screwed up.
Me too.
I can't get out. Oh dear.
Lower right corner of your window, Debbie.
Where?
Lower right corner of your window. If you
Yeah.
move your mouse around, there should be a leave meeting or a leave or something like that, probably in red.
Yeah, but I X'd off instead. Or I minimized. So how do I get it opened up again? I can't.
It should show up somewhere, but
Board Docs Pro.
very small.
Go on the bottom and see where the camera is and click on
Oh.
the camera.
Thank you.
Happens to my first graders all the time.